Three, two, one. We are live on episode 4 of the Zach and Jay Show. We're back.
We're back like we never left.
Thanksgiving week.
Dude, what a great week. It's a lot to be thankful for this week, especially having a short week for most of us, a short calendar week on the holidays. Hopefully everyone that listening to this podcast gets Thursday and Friday off for Black Friday.
Most people do, right?
I would like to think.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't. I work.
Yeah.
Naturally, go to the gym still and kind of work Black Friday naturally since we're selling product. So it's kind of the script is flipped.
Right.
When you're selling product, you have tangible products especially.
Yeah.
Anyone who really is an entrepreneur around this time of year, a lot of people get more time off. Mm-hmm. Whereas I kind of have to ramp it up a little bit in a sense. Me and my team have to work a little bit harder to get the deals out and just to kind of stay relevant during this time of year. If you're not pushing sales right now, you're really not going to be able to stay too relevant during this time as everyone's discounting their products tremendously during this time.
Black Friday's crazy, man. I have a client that she's like a manager at a clothing store at the mall, like Apparel or something, and she just talks about, like the preparation for Black Friday. It's nuts. Like their store, it's I think it's at the it's not the fashion mall, it's the other mall, but she's thinks they're probably gonna do like $100,000 in sales in one day. Just one store, what I mean? It's like the whole mall in itself is probably doing, $5 million in sales.
Imagine that, and that's crazy preparation. Great. I mean, Black Friday used to start at 5 a.m. Now it starts
Yeah, she says they open up, they go to like midnight, and then they open up again at like 6 a.m. So as an employee, you're working all week, right? Crazy hours, and then you got to work until midnight on Thursday night, right? And then you get off 4 hours, and then you go home, come back, and you're working from 6 a.m. until whenever. And it's crazy. It's not just normal hours. Like, the only way I could relate to it would be the Arnold. When I worked the Muscle Farm booth at the Arnold, it was so hectic, dude. Like, you literally couldn't move. Like, you're just boxed in with people, and it's insane.
It's crazy what we'll do for a deal.
Yeah, it's very similar to the Arnold. We're just looking for free stuff.
Just looking for free stuff. That's all the Arnold is, man. Like everyone's like, yeah, we're gonna be my favorite person, but really, what you want to do is get a fuck ton of supplements for free.
Right. It's an interesting, dynamic though, where people will like hold off on like Christmas presents and they hold off on buying TVs and stuff for Black Friday.
Ash and I we're holding off on buying.
I know.
So yeah,
that's why I thought of it. And people will go out in the middle of the night and they'll go to Walmart and fight people to get a slight discount.
Yeah, you get like 10-30%.
I told Dylan yesterday, I said, I'm going to be shopping on Cyber Monday. That's when introverts shop. Cyber Monday's for introverts.
Go strolling in.
Yeah, I'll be saving my money for Cyber Monday. I won't be going out and fighting the crowds.
Yeah, I'll most definitely be doing Cyber Monday myself. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe last year Black Friday was one of the more lower in recent years due to, I think,
good
Cyber Monday.
I was going to say the economy is great.
Yeah, it's essentially, and now don't quote me on this, I shouldn't say it on a podcast, but I don't know.
No, that's what a podcast is for.
But I'm pretty sure it was because Cyber Monday was kind of taking over a little bit more of that. I mean, that's just natural. Me and Ash, dude, I spend so much money like on those apps, Grubhub.
Same.
It's deadly, bro. You ain't gonna leave the house and get food delivered to you. I mean, you spend a few extra dollars, but you don't have to leave the house.
$3 extra.
I mean, you can get your groceries delivered to the house. Yeah. We live in such an on-demand world. So, anyone who's kind of jumping into entrepreneurship, being aware that we live in an on-demand world. These mom and pop shops, I think it's organic and it's original, right? So that sells and that's kind of coming back more like the microbreweries, things like that.
Super popular right now.
Yeah, super popular. It's really cool. That stuff's real neat. I think unless you're kind of more in that realm, like boutique style stuff's doing real well right now as well. Mm-hmm. But that's a lot of time commitment. When you have a boutique, if you have an in-house store, I talked about some of my speaking engagements. Like, what do you thought about opening a slushy stop? Kind of like the Vitality Bowl. Like, that's a great idea. However, I'm not specialized in the whole slushies department.
Right, we know nothing about that.
Nothing about that. Jay knows more about cauliflower, right? So maybe I could dump some of that in there.
Right.
However, I was explaining to them like that's great and stuff, guys. However, that's more time and commitment constraints. Meaning like you have to be in the store a lot more. I really Barbell's 24/7, and I've got myself in the position where multiple days I'm not have to be there about 2 or 3 hours a day. Getting a business to run self-efficiently to a lot more freedom.
Yeah. That's something I've been working on for
Online
3 years now, right?
Yeah.
Is like I knew that I wanted to travel the world. So you and Andrew and I were talking about this at breakfast a few days ago. Like, it's really important to establish the end destination or somewhat like of a rough idea, because then you can reverse engineer, right? So for me, I know, kind of vaguely what I want to achieve in my life, and I want to have a lot of freedom. So that requires, a lot of passive income.
Would you say that's like maybe your number one
goal?
Yeah, is the freedom?
It's a very broad overview goal, but yeah, freedom in general. Like, I don't want to have anyone telling me what to do. I don't want to necessarily have to be anywhere at any specific time. You know what I mean?
$500,000 a year at 80 hours a week, or $250,000 a year at 40 hours a week.
Oh, for sure, $250,000.
Absolutely, and I would have not said that 2 years ago.
No way.
No way. Neither of us would have said that, man. It's so crazy how much we've matured just speaking on a podcast. Like, you can just pause this podcast, go back to like the 10th episode of the Young and Hungry Firecast, and we'd be like, nah, fuck it, hustle more. We've just kind of grown and evolved a little bit, and we kind of, I think, restructured priorities.
Yeah, and I think it's the people we've been exposed to as well. We've been around people that are making those sacrifices in a sense, where they're making less money but they're having more freedom.
Yeah, I'm around both.
Yeah,
I'm around people who are more time constrained, and also around, and I'm able to easily identify which route I would like to go down. But Jay, I'm real excited about today's topics because I love this time of year.
Yes,
I love everything that kind of gets involved with this kind of year. It's a great time for, I feel, fitness influencers to really thrive and showcase who they are as a person and their commitment to lifting weights, and commitment also to their ability to have, how should I say this, maybe a little bit more freedom in their diet, maybe a little bit more life balance. And I really like this time because I'm looking through these fitness influencers, I'm just seeing what they're promoting during the holidays, because this is a time where people cheat a lot in their diets, and it's also a time where people get sucked into a lot of not so effective programming and coaching because I'm jumping into something new and I'm looking for a coach online, and they end up getting swamped, especially these people with multi-million followers doing one-on-one personalized coaching. I would rather suggest someone go to their local CrossFit gym and get a one-on-one coach there than do it online, because you're not getting custom programming from, this guy might get hit with 1,000 different people coming in his inbox. He's a set of programs out.
Right.
So it's pretty effective to follow someone who's going to give you what you need. I'm kind of rambling.
Yeah, let's unpack. I was waiting for you to finish. Let's unpack some of that, right? So the holidays are so much fun. I love Thanksgiving. The food, the family. Like, I'm about to head home tomorrow.
Ohio State's about to beat Michigan.
Ohio State,
Saturday.
Michigan
Come
weekend,
on.
dude. Are you kidding me? The same weekend as Thanksgiving. I don't know if it always times up like that. I guess it does. But it's just really cool. Everything going on. Then it leads you into Christmas, and then just New Year. So it's like the first big holiday of the year.
Yeah.
And something we want to talk about is how to balance, right? Like that work-life balance. So a lot of people think that you can't take any days off, especially if you're self-employed, you're an entrepreneur. It's no days off. Like you just said, you're going to probably be working on Thursday, Friday. So it's like trying to find that balance for yourself. So for me, for example, tomorrow, my family lives in Ohio, so I'm going to head home tomorrow, and I'll be home from Wednesday until Sunday. And I probably won't do a lot of work between Wednesday and Sunday, honestly. Like I'll definitely work, and I'll have to write workouts for the following week for my clients, and I'll be in contact with some of my clients, and I'll do a little bit of online social media stuff. But for the most part, I'm going to be checked out. I'm going to be relaxing. I'm not going to be doing a whole lot, and I'm not going to feel bad about it. You know what I mean? Like, because I know where I'm at right now with my business. I'm happy with where I'm at, and I've been working my ass off the past year. And again, I don't feel bad about taking that time off. Whereas a lot of people, I think they do feel bad, and that causes them to, one, not take the time off, or two, to take the time off, and then in the moment when they're taking the time off, they're not enjoying it because they're thinking about the work they should be doing.
Yeah, almost forcing.
Yeah.
Like forcing either or. What do you do though? What goes into that preparation? I think that's something to really talk about, is when you're going to be taking a few days off. Does that require any more level of preparation for you? Like knowing you're going to take 4 or 5 days off. Are you preparing yourself, overloading in a sense on Monday, Tuesday?
Yeah, a little bit, but not really though. For the most part.
So you just kind of have a good grasp on what you're doing right now.
Right. Yeah. I've been doing it now for 3 years, and I've been in Indy for a year now with my new duties, and I feel like I've really gotten a good grasp for how to get everything done efficiently.
Yeah.
So I could go 4 or 5 days and not really get that far behind. Of course, there's things I could be doing on those 4 or 5 days. I could be writing articles, and I could be working on this and that. But for me, I would rather take that time off, hang out with the family, recharge, and then come back on Monday and be fully refreshed.
Yeah, I love that, man. I love the whole idea of taking some time off and really focusing with the family and enjoying that. However, for me this year, it just so happens to be where we're not really doing much for Thanksgiving. I'm going to see my mom for a couple hours, and then me and Ash are kind of just hanging out. We're going to get Chinese carry out in the evening.
That'll be lit.
Yeah, just doing our own thing, preparing a little bit for Black Friday this year.
Yeah.
It's kind of just where we stand. I still don't see myself working more than an hour or two you know, each day, and I've conquered that hump of feeling guilty for not working.
Did you used to feel guilty?
Oh my! If I wasn't working 18 hours a day, I wasn't hustling.
Right.
I wasn't working hard enough. Well, I realized I was burning the candle at both ends of the sticks, and my work-life balance was totally flipped upside down. I did a total 180 since then, and I continually preach this, that I get so much work done when I'm fully giving 100% in each aspect of my life. You know, if I'm giving 120 to just my work, I'm not giving Ash. You know, I'm giving her 60% of me, 30% of me. You know, she brought that up. I talked about it on the podcast before. That she's like, Zach, you're giving 70% to work and 30% to your family. And I'm like, boom, okay, you know. So it's kind of balancing that out, where I'm giving my best self to all endeavors of my life, because, you know, too much of anything is no good.
Of course.
You know, it's just everything I feel like is okay in moderation. I remember one time I was out smoking cigarettes when I was partying. This is like last year or something. I mean, I still smoke when I drink.
Yeah.
And it's kind of crazy. I'm from a fitness guy, right? So I'm smoking these Cowboy Killers, and this guy comes up to me and we're chatting. He's like, oh, you smoke? I say, I know when I drink. And I drink literally like 3 or 4 times a year, like actual drink, if that. And he's like, he just straight up looked at me and said, I lost all respect for you, whatever.
What?
And I was just like, whoa, you know, I kind of like saw how much that was bothering him, and whatever his situation might have been, that was whatever. But everything that to me is okay in moderation, probably except for meth and heroin.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's some things, of course.
But you know, I think everything is okay in moderation, and that freedom of, you know, freeing yourself and breaking from your norm. It's always good. It's always helps me with like mental clarity and recentering myself and resetting myself up for another successful week or whatever that might look like.
It's okay to take breaks, you know, and so if you establish, I do want to take a break, this thing, so I want to take off, let's say Thursday, Friday, for example, you got to commit to it. You know what I mean? Like you really want to be all in on that time, which is something I struggle with pretty often. You know, you really need to be all in and focus on living in the moment, because if you're in your head thinking about, I got to do this, you know, on Saturday or Sunday or Monday, I got this next week, you know, I should be doing this right now, you're not enjoying the time that you're, you know, spending with your family, or the time that you're taking off and trying to refresh, so you're not really getting anything out of it at all. So it's kind of counterproductive.
Yeah, I noticed that with my training, and this is crazy, where I'm just always on my phone when I'm training, and that's like so like against most fitness guys like, dude, you put your phone down, and you know, Arnold, old school guys, and I totally agree, and I'm way more engaged with my training when I'm not engaged with my phone. However, my phone and my training is how I get paid, so it's like I have to still produce content, and I have to find this certain, you know, training content balance for myself, and find exactly what works for me. I can tell if I'm over contenting and not enough training, or over training and not enough content. Like I have to find that happy medium with myself, and how I find that though is flirting with each end. I flirt with how much I should be on my phone and how much I shouldn't be on my phone, because I still believe that you can get effective workout in being on your phone.
We do it.
You know? We do it, and we gained 25 pounds of muscle last year, so something works, right? Yeah. But Jay, what I really want to talk about, I love the whole work-life balance. I'm glad we dove into that. However, I think most of our listeners are going to get more from this next topic on getting that nutrition for this time of year, you know, with cookies and candy, and you got Turkey Day coming up Thursday. You know, what did you say to everybody? You know, a lot of people might be in prep, people might not be in prep, people are serious on their diet. You know, how do you take this time of year with your nutrition?
Right, so I think it definitely depends on what your goals are. You know, if you have a show January 1st, then it's going to be a little bit different than if you're just trying to get in better shape. But it's interesting because people are so hesitant to start, you know, even start a new plan at this time of year, because it's getting close to Thanksgiving, and then you got Christmas. So I might as well start, you know, the first of the year, which is a crazy mindset to have. And Allie posted something, I think 2 days ago, because she's working with a nutrition coach, and she's like, you know, most people wouldn't have started a new plan right now. You know, I just got back from Russia, and I got Thanksgiving coming up and Christmas. And she's like, no, fuck that. You know, I'm going to start right now because my goals are more important, you know, and I can still have that balance. So that's a really interesting, you know, side topic. It's just like how hesitant people are to even start a new plan, because they just, I might as well start the first of the year.
But if you really think about it, Jay, it's Thursday and Friday. I could see people eating kind of like shit. And then Christmas, you have, you know, maybe 2 days before Christmas, you know, the 23rd, the 24th, the 25th, the 26th. So it's just counted up, that's 6 days in 2 months.
Right.
And then January, so you have 2 days, you know, for New Year's, you're getting hammered drunk probably and eating like shit. So you have roughly 7 or 8 days out of 60 that you wouldn't be on your nutrition plan. You're going to be much more effective being on a plan for 52 days compared to...
It's just an excuse. It really is. You know, but momentum definitely plays into that, which we'll talk about. But this is kind of what I've been telling my clients, and this is kind of what I do myself is, you know, on Thanksgiving Day and even Friday, so Thursday, Friday, you know, try to get some real food in, of course, try to get some solid proteins, some solid fats, some solid veggies.
And that should be no problem on Thursday.
Yeah, of course. You got Thanksgiving, or you got turkey. You've got different types of veggies, ham,
mashed potatoes. I mean, I know it's not the greatest. You're gonna load them with butter, but it's a carb, and fuck it. It's like you have to learn how to enjoy yourself. And you bring Tupperware to Thanksgiving.
Right. So you're getting at least some quality food, and I think is important. You're gonna feel a lot better, especially depending on what your goals are. Like for me, I'm trying to grow as much as I can leading into this prep. So I really need to focus on still getting my calories in, still getting quality food in, but at the same time enjoy yourself. So I've been telling all my clients, get your normal food in, of course, not all of it necessarily, but after that, then you could have some pie. Then you could have some. What are some holiday specials? What do you have on Thanksgiving?
Pumpkin pie.
Pumpkin pie.
I mean, there's cherry pie. I'm more of just like a pumpkin pie guy. I'm not that crazy on sweets, other than like.
Oh, I love me some sweets.
Yeah, like see, I was for a while, but I'm kind of off of it again. I go through phases with my sweets where I'm like so in, where it's like half of my diet, and then other times where I'm just not eating as much. But as far as this time of year, man, kind of how I guess introduce myself to Thanksgiving is it's a free day for me. It's a day for me to enjoy myself. I'm not eating pumpkin pie before I start my day. I'm going through I'm just actually going through, and something that's real big on me too is not overstuffing myself. Yeah, and I think that's miserable. And I think that's where I think people should think more. So rather not worry about what you eat, but how much of it you're actually eating.
Moderation.
Yeah. So what I'll do is I know for a fact we're having lunch at 12 o'clock. So with that being said, I'll do two things. I usually fast every day to 11. Not because I want to, because I'm so busy in the mornings. I'm going to get something real small, and it's like, call it a fast. I'll drink a coffee and have creamer in it. So it's not like a true fast, but some light food, bagel at max. So I probably won't eat, though, until actual thing. I might get a bagel in the morning and drink a coffee, and then I'm going to eat first. My first meal will be at Thanksgiving, and I'm going to eat, check this, a normal serving. I'm not going to overgorge myself with so much fucking, because that was always a thing on me too, because I lift weights, so my family's like, you can eat a ton, so I'd be eating like half the turkey. Or, because my grandma's like, feed that boy, and shoving me up. So I'm going to eat a normal serving, and then everyone else is going to be passed out on the couch because they're in a carb coma. And then a few minutes later, an hour and a half after we eat, I'm going to have another serving.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have the meals that I would typically have, like say I eat at 12, 2, and 4, and 6 or whatever. I'm just going to have Thanksgiving over again, 12, 2, 4, and 6. I'm just going to place those Thanksgiving meals inside of those hours.
That's a cool strategy.
Yeah, and so I get to enjoy, and instead of having a massive piece of pie, I just have a small piece of pie. I break it down, and it's okay, say I plan on having 2 pieces of pie for Thanksgiving. I break it down into having 4 small pieces throughout 4 different meals. Yeah. And it's always been effective for me, and I don't feel like shit the next day because I basically just ate like I would typically eat in a normal day. Maybe a little bit more sweets, a lot more carbs. But then the next day, I know I'm having a good training session. I'm preparing myself. I'm not working out on Thursday. I'm taking that day off. So I'm just, my Friday's an accessory day. So I'm taking my heavy log press on Thursdays and just pushing it back till Friday. So I'm gonna have some extra energy in me and almost use it as like a comp day in a sense for my log press and exert myself a little bit more energy because I know I had, that storage, that carb storage, baby.
Like it in stores.
Yeah, for that next training session. So I approach it that way. I approach it with very. I don't let it weigh on me. I don't feel guilty about it. I look at it as a positive. It's simply a mindset for me.
Yeah, I like the moderation. I've been telling my clients that as well. Just keep it in moderation, because you're going to be miserable if you just eat everything. A lot of people do that, and then they're miserable. They're laying on the couch, and they hate themselves.
Remember the tryptophan thing?
Yeah.
Turkey. Everyone's like, yeah, the tryptophan in the turkey is what makes you sleep. And then, you goofy fuck, it's because you ate 1,000 grams of carbs in an hour.
That's probably more so likely.
It's way more. Yeah, the tryptophan, I think it was on like... not Mythbusters, or maybe one of those ones.
Probably was.
You had to eat like a whole damn turkey or like something ridiculous.
That's not the reason you're so tired. It's all the pie and everything else.
You say like a dickhead.
Yeah, of course. So moderation, but enjoy yourself. I think that's really important. And then the next thing is being aware of your momentum. So if you've been doing super good on your diet, let's say for like 3 months now, you're getting into a great rhythm. You're getting all your food in. You're doing great on keeping it clean, and you got all this positive momentum going. And then a day, let's say you just eat like shit all day, which is fine, if you want to do that, that's totally cool. That's not necessarily what I'm going to do because I don't want to feel like shit all day, but that's totally cool if you want to do that. It's 1 day out of the year. It's not going to totally, derail you from your goals. And again, unless you're doing like a show coming up, you're like 8 weeks out from a show, not a good idea. But if you're just a normal person, totally fine. But the important thing is to be aware of your momentum because you got all this positive momentum built up, that one day can easily kind of just derail you momentum-wise, not necessarily physically, with your weight loss, but your momentum in your own head, which is one of the most important aspects, right?
So I'd say
yeah, of course, the most important, let's say. So being aware of that momentum, and then the following day getting right back on track, or let's say if you plan on Thursday, Friday eating like crap, and then Saturday getting back on track, be right on the ball and getting back on track on Friday or Saturday, because if not, then it's really easy just to continue to follow what you've been doing the last few days and just eating kind of whatever. I see it all the time, with people I work with. They're doing great. They go on vacation, they fall off for a couple of days or a week, and then they come back and they can't get back on track because of the momentum. So you just got to be really aware of your momentum and force yourself, because when Saturday morning rolls around, you're not going to want to get back to your plan. You're going to want to eat more pie. Your brain's going to be telling you eat more pie. Eat some pancakes this morning to be okay. You gotta fight that urge and just get right back on track.
Yeah, something that I would suggest too is if you are this person and this comes with self-awareness to identify who you are, I would suggest if you're this person who knows like, hey, if I eat like shit, I know I'm gonna derail myself. I have some positive momentum going right now. I gotta hold this. Rather than bringing Tupperware to Thanksgiving, and this is just me. This is what I'm doing. If you want to bring Tupperware to Thanksgiving because you're that fucking diehard, do your thing. I have a little bit to talk about that too. We'll go into the topic after this. Do your thing. That's totally fine. But if you're like on that fringe, like I could possibly lose my momentum, but I don't want to like isolate myself with Tupperware. I want to eat Thanksgiving and enjoy myself and my family. I would suggest, if that's the case and you're eating, an average of 2,500 calories a day, go ahead and just break your macronutrients out throughout the day and make sure you hit about 2,500 calories. Enjoy your Thanksgiving dinner,
right?
Just in portions. So you typically eat 500 calories a meal, 600 calories a meal. Put 600 calories on your plate.
Yeah.
And that's super simple with MyFitnessPal. Just pop up there. What's mashed potatoes? What's green beans? What's pie? What's turkey? Yeah. You put it in there. Now you got to just break down your macronutrients throughout the day.
That's a really good point. Yeah, because at the end of the day, there's a lot more that goes into and quality food is important, but macros, your overall calories, is really important as well. So like you said, if you're eating 2,500 calories a day, if you're able to still eat the same amount of calories, even though it's shit food, it's not going to necessarily affect your momentum, and especially in your own head.
Yeah.
So I think that's
a different way to work for different people, which could be could suggest a alternate avenue, alternate opportunity.
I like that. I'm excited. I don't know what the family's got cooking, but I know my sister, she always comes with some fire desserts. So I already know. It's probably some like Oreo truffles or something. I don't know if you guys had truffles.
No, I never had no truffles.
They're good.
No, truffle cake. Okay. Is it a cake or?
It's like those little Oreo balls. It's like a white ball with like Oreo crumble. Like Oreo's all crumbled up, crushed up inside of it with like an icing layer. It's money.
It is money. So I got this a couple years ago. Probably last year, probably last Thanksgiving. Some guy, I was on this topic. I think I was ranting about it on Snapchat or Twitter, and talking about like going into Thanksgiving, and if you chose to take your Tupperware, kind of to be anticipating Uncle Bob or whoever in your fucking family who's going to be talking shit that you have Tupperware. This. Immediately when you walk into Thanksgiving dinner, expect to isolate yourself from your family. There's going to be a level of isolation because you're eating extremely healthy and everyone else is eating like shit. So the first person they're going to point out is you. So when you get pointed out in this isolation, and this is insight that I wish I was given years ago whenever I was kind of diehard into this shit. When I was isolated in that aspect of like not doing what the family was doing, and it was simply, I could tell it was them feeling bad about themselves, being gluttons, and they kind of just pushed it on me. I'm me, Jay, I'm very fiery, so I have no problem, motherfucking somebody or telling them what's on my mind. And I realized that's what I did. I isolated myself from my family. I could kind of push people away from me at times whenever I was maybe eating a certain way or doing a certain thing. And when we're eating Tupperware and shit, we're not always the happiest person either. Because we're eating that way. So be aware of that. Don't isolate people because they don't have the same understanding as you. Realize that they don't have the same visions or goals as you. So it wouldn't be for them to understand why you're eating Tupperware. So if they do have something to say about it, like, yeah, you know what, I don't want to eat this either. It sucks. But I just have some big goals right now, and this is what I'm looking to achieve. So this is what I have to do. Trust me, I'd much rather be eating that pumpkin pie.
Yeah.
So finding a common ground with them rather than pushing them away. Yeah. And this just comes from wisdom of fucking doing it before.
Right. And it's totally okay to do that. You know what I mean? Like if you're the type of person, like I have one client, I just talked to him before I hopped on the podcast, and he's super all in or not in at all and stuff. He's like, you know what, I might just be totally strict on Thanksgiving. That might work best for me. And I'm like, okay, well, you know yourself better than anyone else, and if that's gonna, if that's not gonna lead to you eventually falling off and just binging on everything, then great, go ahead and do that. You know what I mean? But you got to be super self-aware, and there's not an issue to do that. You shouldn't be ashamed of not eating junk food. I'm gonna eat some junk food, but like you should, feel like you have to because it's Thanksgiving.
Yeah, you should absolutely do what you feel is best for you. And we give multiple options, so I think that's, I think there's really no matter what your scenario might be, that you could take some of this insight and prepare yourself for your Thanksgiving.
Let's move on to the next topic. I know you're going to have some great insight on this one. We're kind of talking about it before the podcast in a different, how it applies differently in different conversations. But when you go to Thanksgiving, you may be, for me, for example, I live away from my family. I don't see them that often. They have different interests than I do. And you get into interesting conversations about things like politics, for example. And it's sometimes difficult to steer that conversation in a way to where it doesn't end up in an argument.
Yeah.
It's really easy for it to turn into an argument, and then everyone just gets pissed. You know what I mean? So like, how do you kind of navigate those waters of talking about politics when your family brings it up?
Yeah, so I think something great. Like I have a story based off it. So last year we went to Ashley's sister's house for Thanksgiving, and they had her sister's husbands. And so Ashley's sister's in-laws were also there. We were there. My mom, Ashley's parents. There's people there, whatever. And the in-laws are very conservative, very old school. Not mine, but Ashley's sister's husband's parents.
Well, my parents are like that too.
Yeah, so they're just extremely conservative. And they somehow got on the topic of people living together before they're married. And Ashley and I have been living together for over a year prior to this conversation, a year and a half or something. And you could tell it was directly pointed at us. And it was unnecessary. It didn't need to happen. And it was a conversation that this guy, the dad, tried to bring up. And he kind of directed it towards us. And I could tell he was handing me the ball off to start controversy with me. And I was like, you know what? I think it's really important to understand that people think differently, and that it's okay, and it doesn't make them a bad person because he's a very holy person. I said, God says all sins are, he's the judgment. He will decide the sins. So I don't say your sin is worse than mine, and vice versa. I say you're passing judgment right now. And we may think differently right now, but that's okay. Let's try to enjoy ourselves while we're here.
Yeah.
And just really hitting with some professionalism, not like trying to start an argument with him, or because I have my opinion too, and I think people should live together. And this is me going to church, and I know what it says in sex before marriage. I get all this, but here's the deal. I'm having sex with Ashley before we're married, because if I don't like having sex with her, it's not going to work, because it's how I find it's part of my love language. It's physical touch. So I know that about myself. So living with somebody, me and Ashley have learned a fuck ton about each other from living with each other. Now when we get married, I'm gonna have I know what's to come. I've been living there for 3 years. We know it's coming. So, but that's just me, and if people think differently, that's okay. But constantly passing judgment, sometimes your opinion might not need to be shared. Just because people think differently than you doesn't make them a bad person.
Yeah, I think that's an important point. Is like, you don't necessarily have to go into it. Even if someone says something about politics, you don't have to respond.
Yeah,
I think that's the easiest way to avoid an argument. Or just very quickly, just saying,
Especially this year, politics are going to be a big issue.
Yeah, of course.
Because at the end of the day, if you like our president, you're racist. If you don't like our president, you don't like America. So it's real hard, right now with just where we stand with others' political views, and people are really basing their identity off their candidate.
Don't they? People take it
some
super personal.
Some of y'all need to hear that. You're basing your identity off of being Republican or Democrat. If you're basing your identity off of being Republican or Democrat, of a political view, you should do some strong reconsidering.
Yeah.
I'm almost at a loss for words when I say it, because I just can't believe people can truly base who they are as a person off that. I see people I've saw families be broken apart because of it. And I'm like, holy shit. Like, it's so far beyond me. So I think it's being understanding and respectful of others' opinions. Know that we base our opinions is typically off of someone else's opinion, is where our opinions are generated from. We read something, we read an article that's a bias, for Fox News or for CNN or whichever. You read a biased article, you find it, you like it. Your parents like Fox News, so you like Fox News. They like this. They choose and then you choose. It has a lot to do with it. So what I've always done was took a step back, and if I read an article on Trump, I go to the other news source and read the other article based off of it. It is totally different. The same story, totally different. So my thing is like, one of them are lying. I'm not gonna base my identity off of two different opinions with one's lying, because how if I chose wrong?
Yeah. People love teams. That's honestly, that's politics, and that's why people choose one side or the other. They love to be on a team. It's my team versus your team, and if you're a Democrat, you're a terrible person, or if you're a Republican, you know what I mean? Like, it's really crazy for me because I'm not necessarily political, and I should probably be more involved and know more of what's going on in politics and around the world. But people are, they just, like you said, they identify with it so much, and it can ruin relationships, and in relationships even with family. Yeah, because people take it so serious.
And people create boundaries when there doesn't have to be any. Like this whole me versus the world. Iron Valley Barbell versus the world. You would never hear me say that. That's so bogus. I want the world on my side.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like, you versus the world, you're just subjecting out everybody else. You're creating a niche that doesn't have to be there, and you're creating boundaries that don't need to exist. And so I think creating boundaries is just it's never practical. You see what boundaries do just in general, what they do and how disruptive they can be. So I think just being very aware of what words you use and what repercussions can come from them.
Yeah, your words are powerful.
Your words are very powerful. Your words are your tongue's, or is your heart's translator. So your tongue is the heart's translator. So what you say is what your heart feels. Yeah. So my heart's good. It's happy. So when someone has an opinion that's opposing to me, I'm not going to express out frustrations and anger towards that individual, because I have a good heart and I need to understand that person has different circumstances, situations that led them into their opinion that they have now, and I need to respect their opinion for what it is. However, that doesn't mean I have to offer an opinion back and expect them to respect my opinion.
Right.
I don't expect anyone else to respect my opinion. So when I put a very biased opinion out on social media towards the left or towards the right, I don't expect other people to respect my opinion. And I think this is where we're failing. We think everyone should respect our opinions. No. Remember, opinions are subjective.
That's a good point.
That's all I have.
Oh, you got good points. I think, one of the best things, though, to kind of recap that is just try to avoid those topics at Thanksgiving. You know what I mean? I think that's going to be the best way, is just try to avoid it. If someone brings it up, try to get out of it as quick as possible. Try not to argue, because I've been there where I don't really know a lot about politics, but my parents would be talking about something with Fox News, and my sister and I would be, say something back to my mom, and then it ends up in a big fight, and then we don't talk for an hour.
And is that how you want to enjoy your time with your family?
No, of course not. And like I said, I don't even know anything about politics, so why am I just like to argue.
Right.
I think, it just trying to avoid the arguments and avoid the topics in general will make your time a lot better, and, talk about fun stuff, talk about old memories,
find mutual things that you both enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, that's just what we do, customer relations, right? So whenever I go to like family functions, I view it as a work meeting. I know that sounds maybe different, if you will, but when I go there, I'm like, this is a meeting for me. So when I go to a meeting, I always want to leave people with a good taste in their mouth. Any interaction I have, I consider a meeting. We're having a meeting right now, and when I get off this podcast, I mean you had a positive interaction on the podcast, and you're left better than what you came. So I'm not going to create controversy with my family. A lot of us create a level of controversy with our family because we know that at the end of the day they're always going to love us. Even if the relationship is severed, there's still a potential of reconnecting.
Right.
And I think when we know that, it's a little bit easier to talk about controversial topics, because I just wouldn't walk around to share my opinion with anybody, but you're allotted a little bit more freedom when you're with your family. And also on top of that, a lot of us go in on edge to Thanksgiving, to Christmas, because we already have a biased opinion or a negative taste in our mouth with one of our relatives. We all have that relative we don't really like, but this shows up every year anyways. And all I do is distance myself, and I just find very, I should say, open and general topics to discuss with this person if I happen to fall into conversation with them. So I'm just going to talk about a conversation that I know he likes.
Yeah.
I'm going to avoid politics. I'm going to avoid religion. If he really likes the Steelers, I'm going to talk about the Steelers. Man, did you see the Steelers are crushing it this year, whatever, have small talk, leave a good taste in his mouth, and then exit the conversation. So later on, when they start chatting about politics, I'm popping up Instagram, looking at my phone while they just fucking argue with each other.
Everyone's
you know what I mean? I've set in the tone, I'm not, you can't control the way I feel. Jay, you can be jumping up and down and screaming motherfucking me. That doesn't mean my emotions have to get affected.
Yeah, that takes a high level of emotional intelligence and personal development in general to get to the point where people can't affect you.
Yeah, and it's identifying those emotions. I mean, if you say that you like Trump and I get real mad, what's triggering that emotion? Is it because Trump's abortion law or his border control or whatever it was? What's triggering that emotion? Identify that emotion and know that you're not mad at your relative. You're mad at the policy that Trump put into place, and your relative may not even think that that's a good policy, or they might not just be educated on the policy. So giving grace, whatever happened to giving our relatives and giving the people around us grace? You know, me and Ash are real big on that. When I make a mistake and she looks at me and we're in an argument, I just stop and say, yo, you know what? I need some grace right now. I fucked up. Give me some grace. She gives me grace. You know, she's like, okay, I appreciate you acknowledging that you fucked that up. I'm away now, I'm pissed at you still, but she gives me grace, like understanding we move away from the top, you know, we move around, because we're not gonna be perfect. And I found myself in a lot of arguments with family and friends that I realized about 5 minutes in I was wrong, but I'm like, fuck it, I've already chose the side.
Yeah, I'm all in on this argument.
Now.
That's me arguing about Fox News. I've been there, and I'm like, oh, well, I'm all in now. I gotta keep going. I'm just making shit up.
Yeah, then what happens there? Watch this. The next time you get, because someone on a podcast is going to get in an argument with their family anyways, after all this insight we're giving them. Notice in about 5 minutes in, you stop insulting. You start insulting the person and not the policy that Trump put in place. You're not really arguing over politics anymore. Now you start arguing with the person. It changes. Everything starts to change. Now you're arguing. I'm bashing you as a person.
Yeah.
Not your political view, but you as a person.
Yeah, your ego.
Within 5 minutes, you're going to be arguing with that person and bringing up. You know, the last time me and Ash had an argument, we got an argument about where we're going to go eat. This is just a made-up story, but we're arguing about where we're going to go eat at. And then 5 minutes later, we're arguing about bills. You know, we're arguing about crew. Or, you know, it just gets, arguments just go through all this junk that could have been avoided if you would have just simply removed yourself from the situation and identified those emotions.
Cool. I'm pumped for you got me pumped up for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, man. I think I'm going into it with a level head, right?
Yeah, this is cool. This I mean, helped me honestly. You know, give some of your insight because I've been there again, where it's hard to navigate those conversations. You know, and sometimes you don't even mean to, and you jump into it, and you're like, shit, I'm already in it now. I just got to keep going.
Think before you speak.
Yeah,
most definitely. That was big for me too, because you know I could just, you know, hey, man, in this day and age, everyone's triggered. I've wrote a lot of tweets I've had to delete, man. They're just sitting in my drafts because people are too sensitive to hear them. You know, and people are triggered very easily, and it's like you can't always worry about stepping on other people's toes, but also understand that you only have so much energy to give in a day and so much energy to give in a week. And do you really want to give all that energy to a topic that really doesn't matter that much? My life hasn't changed one bit since the person's been in office. I know a lot of lives have changed, and I have empathy for that. And I think that's important to have, you know, have empathy for, you know, and if that gets brought up and if I get pulled into the conversation, then I have a lot of empathy for people who are struggling right now with Trump's policies. You know, I can understand how that could be hard for them. It doesn't mean it's hard for me. I can understand how that'd be hard for them.
Yeah.
That removes you from the situation. You show empathy and you're out. If they're like, oh, so what, you agree with him? I said, no, I said I have empathy for everyone who's struggling with that. So you can't pull me into this, man. You can't affect my emotions.
That's a good point.
I'm removed.
I love it.
Yeah.
Remove yourself.
Neutral. Remove yourself.
Cool. Zen'd out.
Zoom.
I'm so pumped to go home.
Smoke a big fat joint before you go in. You'll be good.
I'm so pumped to go home for the weekend, man. I look forward to these trips so much. It allows me to really step back and like observe my life from a different perspective as well, especially during the drive.
Yeah.
You know, but just being back home for a handful of days allows me to take a look at my life from a different perspective and really realize, you know, where I'm at. And it's cool. It's exciting. Yeah. So I'm going to get a little bit extra sleep. I'm going to get some sweets in me. I'm just going to hang out.
Well, think about all the, we talked about this in the last podcast, preparation. Think about all the positive conversations you're going to have with your family this weekend.
Yeah, of course.
And that's going to really set the tone. You know, you're going in and you're going to have a good time with your family. I can't wait to see him. I haven't seen him in a while. I haven't seen Uncle Bob in a while. He's always a dickhead when I see him, wants to argue about politics. But it's going to be great to see him because this year I got his number. He ain't going to be able to drag me into it, you know, and just going in with that mindset of it's going to be good. And it's going to be good, you know. What you say and what you think is what happens.
Yeah, it's like preparing for the week ahead of time, right?
Preparing for the week.
You already know how the day's going to go.
I already know how the day's going to go.
You already know how Thanksgiving's going to go.
I already know.
Same thing.
Same shit, different day.
Cool.
Let's keep winning. Hey guys, I'm having a blast.
Yeah.
We're finding our groove again on the podcast. A couple episodes ago, we had to redo it, a whole episode. You know, because we were just in here rambling about bullshit.
we did a whole hour and 15 minutes. And we're like, let's run it back.
It was great. You know,
it was
great. So it's been good. And guys, I appreciate all the feedback too. I mean, that's really Jay and I's lifeline.
We got some new reviews. We appreciate you guys for leaving reviews on the podcast.
It means a ton. Absolutely.
Yeah. If you just go to our iTunes and you click to our profile, you can leave a 5-star review or whatever star you want to leave with a little bit of a note, and that'll help us.
I love how Jay is just so. If you want to leave a 2-star, 2-star. Yeah. If you want to leave a 2-star, fuck you. Just move on. Don't listen to us. Right, yeah. I've always thought that if you don't like it, when I eat a restaurant, if I don't like it, I just don't go back.
Yeah,
I'm gonna fucking bash them on Google. The cook could have a bad day.
That's true.
So fuck you if you leave a 1-star.
Don't leave a 1-star.
Guys, we appreciate you. Thank you a ton for tuning in. I hope this podcast provided a lot of insight for y'all moving forward into the holidays. I hope you have a good game plan, a good strategy going in, how to talk to Uncle Bob and his biased political views, and you have a good game plan going in on what your nutrition is going to look like, and you allot yourself some freedom to enjoy yourself during this holiday, because guess what? You really, really deserve it.
Yeah, or don't. Just be strict. Whatever you prefer.
Or don't, and go get it.
Don't feel bad about it either way, though.
Yeah, whichever route you decide, go all in on it.
There you go.
Cool.
I'm excited.
All right, you want to jump off, or you just want to keep on like?
Let's jump off. Yeah, I'm out.
Love y'all. Peace.